Does the ego fight to survive? It certainly does. And I'll explain to you what I mean by this. Quite the, look at that. Quite the hair there, huh? It's amazing that as you grow older, you gain hair in places that you don't want it and lose it in places that you do. Quite the hi, Fifth World. Good to see you. You were the first to show up. Hi, Nadira. Good to see you. Kelly Kim, Magpie. Yes, this is the romper room exercise, as I've been told. Good to see you, T.Y. Abaddon, John Krexmer, German Ruiz, Lynn McGraw, Dale Wright, Vermin Baker. There was somebody who said that they don't like when their name is called out, so I'll try to avoid you. Good to see you, Tracy. Eric Martinez, Rana, Jose Lopez, Kathleen Sharp, Love Matters. Good to see you, Love Matters. Leslie Matisse, Boy, I'm sorry if I can't pronounce some of these names. First of all, it's also quite small on the screen. Sherry Sunshine, Paul Berry, Char Ellis. Good to see everyone. So I don't know whether you all caught. This is going to be a fairly short show. In fact, hi, good to see you, Paul Ross. I had started to, I actually was rendering a video. I made this first in a video, and then just something told me, no, just talk about it, because it allows me to kind of get into a little bit more detail with you and answer some questions about it. But the reason why I bring this up is because as things come to me during the day and as I witness stuff, it becomes clear that it's not just a single person that is experiencing it or a single person that is going through something specific, that it is a general vibration, a frequency of that issue, that the issue itself becomes a very specific issue based on wherever you're at the time. And it seems that we all seem to go through these things at the same time. So I'm going to bring this up because this is really important. That, you've heard me talk about many times about brands or identities where, you can't put me in a box. You can't take these boxes in the same way that people have put Christianity in a box. This identity, the identities that we have and maintain are many. And these are what I would liken to the demons that we maintain. We accept these demons, and these demons come in the name of these identities. So it becomes quite easy for the language to become black magic itself, that somebody can say something, and if you take it, you've accepted that spell. And I'm going to try to put this to you in the simplest of terms that I can, that for many of you that have issues in your life, maybe it's alcoholism, and again, that's even a brand. It's alcoholism or narcissism or whatever you're an addict of a certain drug or something, or you're a Christian, or you're a Baptist, or you're a Pentecostal, or any brand, a Republican, a Democrat. All of these brands bring with them a litany of issues. So when you hear that I am everything, so I am nothing, that statement means that you become everything because you are everything when you have accepted none of the things. When you know nothing, you can know everything. So when you forget all of these brands and all of these identities and all of the perceptions of the world and all of the things that people say are the truth, then when you forget those things, then you can come into the truth. And then and only then will you actually see it, know it, and understand it and feel it. So, and let me explain to you how simple that this gets. Trusty whiteboard. If I said, here's me. If I said, I don't like alcoholics, here's the alcoholics, and there's a bunch of people within the category. It's a category. It isn't those people, but it's a category that they are categorized within because they have a condition of something. They like to drink too much. They're burying something. They're hiding something. That's where that comes from. It's not that you're addicted to it. Everything is an escape. What are you escaping from? Everything yields from a reason. Why do you do drugs? Why must you vanish? I'm not talking about psychedelics where people are using them, where shamans use them for a spiritual enlightenment and go on a journey to find answers. I'm talking about where you're using things, anything, to disappear. Work is exactly that, because it's a very big justification. People become workaholics. I was one of them. I spent almost 21 hours a day, every single day for years, and abandoned everybody in my life because the work was more important. So that became my sickness. Whatever we accept becomes our identity. Why? This is death. This is bad. So if I said I don't like alcoholics, and you're over here and you happen to think or know that you've got a problem with drinking, then you take the identity of that and make it yourself by being offended. Do you understand what I just said? That you have now taken that identity. You've actually agreed that you are that that's who you are. It isn't who you are. None of these things are who you are. The only way that they become who you are is when you accept them for who you are. You have removed their ability to be external to you. So look at it like a demon. If I said that a demon's name was Bob, and I said, I can't stand Bobs, and you felt like you had a demon named Bob, and you got offended, the fact that you got offended means that you've accepted that you are Bob. Even though I've said I don't like those attributes of Bob, doesn't mean that I don't like you, because you're different than what you do. So as I've tried to say, that is what comes out of our mouth that defiles us. That's what Christ said. Because it's the impact that we have on others. So it's the impact that you have on others that defiles you. It is what you send out into the universe. It is the rock that you throw in the middle of the pond, the waves that you cause within that defile you. Because you will see the results of your actions within yourself, and you will bear the responsibility of those to yourself. You are your book of life. You are your record in the Akashic record. Do not take that identity. The reason why you have issues with that is that you assume these identities. So imagine all of the different identities that you've assumed. So think about this. Somebody says, are you a Republican? You say yes. And then 3 weeks later, a bunch of Republicans are rounded up because they're pedophiles. What does that make you? That made you one of them. You supported them. You identified with it. That became your identity. And you're seen as that, and you'll be hated as that. Why on earth would you ever want to be associated with something that you don't control? Remember, the kingdom is right here. It's within you. Don't taint that kingdom. Why would you take something so small and turn that kingdom into you? It's craziness. Don't make me wag my finger at you. So, yes, remove the labels, dump them. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this, and I've titled this, Does the Ego Fight to Survive? Because as we get into these truths, many of you feel broken. Because it's actually a good wag, wag, wag. Sorry, Kathleen Sharp. Sorry, don't mean to wag my finger at you. That when you are at your lower parts, which is actually your higher parts. So remember, as you're coming into these truths, you're ascending. But in this world and in this flesh, you're going to feel lower. So it's a constant pull. And it's scary because you feel like you're getting away from yourself, but you're actually becoming closer to yourself. You're becoming closer to who you truly are, not further. But you are growing further from your ego, from self. So imagine this, that during the course of that, you're going to be feeling very sensitive, very affected by what happens around you. And that is where the ego will struggle to survive and actually make you more selfish. So when you take on these things and you have an appetite, now, trust me, I love the fact that everybody is thirsty for the truth. And believe me, you can see in these comments here, but my emails, and I light up Facebook, I want to go talk with my daughter, I'll get 40 messages popped up, people asking me questions. I'll get hundreds upon hundreds of emails. On the website, I'll get people contacting me constantly. It's very difficult for me to maintain any semblance of understanding who I even replied to anymore. And I'll answer somebody's question, and then they'll respond with 99 more questions. So it's like, oh my gosh, I have his attention. So, but with that said, in that seeking, that you have to be careful that you don't make yourself more important than the people around you. So the ego is trying to use your good, again, cloaking the good intentions and allowing itself to establish itself in you again. That you disregard everything around you in order to get that answer. You disregard all the people around you in order to get something that you want. You must maintain this constant understanding. It's never something that you can put aside. You've always got to pay very close attention. Because you yourself, particularly when you feel lower, when your ego is feeling lower, it will also attach itself to any statement. And it will take it for itself. So the point is that when I speak of things, I speak of the we, the us. There is no me or I in this, not for any of us. So when somebody asks me a question and I say, I'm not going to answer that here, they'll get offended. And I'm like, now, why would I answer that question just for you here in this text or in this email and not answer it for everybody else? If I get that same question, I'm going to get that same question in different variations of that question. So there is no canned answers in this. It's not like I can copy and paste and I have a database of answers. So, and the other thing is that it's important that you find answers on your own. I cannot become a crutch for you. I can become a guide and a support system, but not a crutch. You can't go from having crutches over here, throw away those crutches and accept a new one. And this is what Christ was talking about when he was speaking of Moses, when they were asking him about the laws of divorce. And he said, Moses gave that to you because of your problems, essentially. So Moses lost patience, and so he created one law so people would just follow that and stop asking him questions. They couldn't find it on their own. They should have known what is good and what is bad, because the kingdom is within you, and this is the only place that you do know good from evil. You don't know it externally because you don't know the motives and the intentions and the purpose of everybody else externally to you. Eddie says, my leg needs lifting. Which father, Jason Rio said, which father resides in self, love or ego? Both. As long as you have that twisted pair of serpents in you, you're going to have two of you. This is why you battle and you kill the other one. You want to make sure you know the other one through and through and how he operates and his attributes. Like I said, he will use even the good. Remember, the roads to hell are paved with good intentions. That's because the enemy knows how to cloak what he does within good intentions. When you say to somebody, look, I don't want to, I'm not trying to make you feel bad here, but that's a cloaking and good intentions. You're cloaking something, you're hiding something, and so you're making that statement. If you have to say that, then what you're about to say probably shouldn't be said. If you have to begin your conversation with any type of cloaking, it's bad. You can help define the presentation and say, look, I'm going to be discussing these things for a specific purpose. And then that purpose gets defined. But don't cloak what you talk about. That cloaking is the enemy. Anders says, ahoy, Mr. Bros, ahoy. That's hello or greetings in Czech. Right? Anders? So, Fifth World, hearts, love you back. Let me see. David Default says, Derek, I went on the camera team in November. Email messages sent so far, been unseen. Love from Phoenix. David, I have received and I have starred and categorized all of the emails that I've received for the Hopi trip. I can tell you right now that if everybody that has emailed me that wants to come can show up and will show up, we'll have about 1,000 people. Now, I also want to say on this as an encouragement for her as well. I briefly spoke to Miss Dana Ashley last night, and I'm hoping, and she's considering it, that she would be part of the YouTube team of people going to the Hopi territory and going into the caves and such. So I think it would be a wonderful, wonderful thing. I would like it very much not just to be a bunch of YouTube dudes. I would very much like to have some feminine perspective. And yes, we have the wives and girlfriends that are also come, but I'd also, it'd be great to be able to have Dana Ashley. And I'd really like to try to get I don't know where she's at actually, but Narnia 9, I believe her channel is called. She seems quite intuitive, and that she's receiving some remarkable messages. She's not always correct, but none of us are. So I'm looking to add some more people from the YouTube side to that trip as well. So don't know whether any of you saw the show last night with Rex Bear. It went really well. Rex was having issues with his internet, so we cut the show a little short. Oddly enough, it was somebody else's internet. It wasn't mine. Nanya. There you go. Thank you, Mama Chaos. Jay Miskinus says, I am always correct. Yeah, that's the unfortunate part, isn't it? That we always want to be right. We never want to be wrong. And we'll protect that. So the Hopi trip itself looks like it's going to be the end of November, 3rd week to the 4th week in November. And I'm putting together a list of needs that we'll need and that we're going to require there, as far as equipment and also just things around. I expect that we'll probably have, like I said, the campfire will be the congregation at night to discuss the things that we're seeing throughout the day. There will be lots of little different things. We're going to really let it flow. It's not going to be, like I said, this organization thing where we have some chart about where people are going to be at what time. We're going to just allow things to happen, things to take place. For the sake and the safety of some of the YouTube people that are coming, obviously, I'm sure that you can, understand this, that we will have some security presence for some of those people, because obviously, if you saw my email and the amount of death threats and threats that I get, you would fully understand that. And I'm not the only one. So I'm sure Jeffrey and Steve at WSO, and also if Nadi comes, we're gonna want to create some safe zones for them. And it's not that they won't be available for people to talk and meet. I'm sure they will be, but so they have a safe place to retreat to, and a place where they can actually have some solace as well. Because if we do have the amount of people that it looks like will come, it's going to probably be a little a mini event in the desert. So with that said, we will also probably have people that bring their talents and their skills. So musicians, and the like. We'll probably have a lot of people. So like I said, any supplies People have their family own a water truck. You can bring the water truck so we have water. Some families have a kitchen trailer that's a kitchen so we can make food and have stuff. Although primarily I would like it to, we can have that where we can have some organized meals, but primarily people will be taking care of their own food and themselves. Guitars, yes, there will be, we will definitely have entertainment. So, let me see here. Does it have to do with the child being hidden in the desert for a number of days, your trip, Derek? Not going to say what it has anything to do with. We're going to allow it to be discovered as it happens. Let me see. Somebody else had a question I wanted to try to get to. Yes, Nania is very smart. She is. She's got great insight into the scriptures, and I would very much like to have someone like that is quite technically minded. I'm not quite sure whether, I've listened to a few of her videos, and I'm not quite sure she's prepared to be around people. But I could be completely wrong. I would, if any of you ever reach out to her and send her my direction, that'd be great. I've never spoken to her. Matt Burkett says, when we die, how do we get out of line and resist Enki and Enlil? You're going to find that out, that you, when it's spoken of that says you have a name that no one knows but yourself, you're going to know how to respond, but you're not going to, in this life, at least, in this where we're at coming right now, it's not something you're going to have to worry about. The end is going to be known and very visible to everybody. You're definitely not going to be alone. It's not going to be a lonely situation. Let me see. Good question. Jonathan Breckel. What's the difference between praying and meditating? And should we be praying or meditating within? People ask me, how come I never see you pray? And pray without ceasing. I'm always in prayer. That there is a constant voice that's always asking. I'm always asking to regulate and to provide an understanding of what I'm saying and provide. I'm constantly in prayer. It's like allowing the Father to live in you. And that's why you end up having that presence, that you're constantly in prayer. It's not a set session. So meditation is a separation from the world. That you separate yourself. Now, I'll give you an example. If you close your eyes, you think that you see darkness. But if you pay very close attention, you'll see things. You'll see spots, and somebody say, oh, that's the back of your eyelid. Yes and no. If you focus on a little dot and you try to keep that focus and maintain that focus, you'll begin to understand that you can go into a different place. That focus requires everything to be blocked out around you. Everything from birds chirping to the sound of the wind to any noise, anything. That separation is what allows you to actually hear the Father in that very quiet place. So when you are praying, you're not necessarily meditating and listening. Because when you're speaking and you're occupied with what you're saying, you're not listening, right? So look at praying and meditating as two different sides of that same situation. Praying is going out, meditating is receiving. Let me see. Good questions here today. What is the truth? Scrub says, what is the truth about marijuana? Good, bad, as viewed from the Father's perspective? I heard it mentioned. I've heard it's mentioned in Scripture, yet haven't found it. Well, Scrub, what I'll do is I'll pull all those scriptures out and bring them to you. Yes, it is in Scripture. Obviously, anything natural. Here's the way I can tell you to look for things of the Father. If the world exalts it, God despises it. If man exalts it, if man thinks it's great, God doesn't like it. That's the statement. And that means the inverse is also true. If man thinks it's bad, then God probably likes it. Because mankind is always going to dictate to you what they want. They want you to accept their rules, their laws. This is the kingdom that mankind has established utilizing the enemy. And it's not absent from that. So all you have to know is that for them to classify marijuana as a level 1 drug, the most dangerous of drugs, it is the most dangerous of drugs. First of all, the mere fact that it's labeled as a drug is nonsense. It's not a drug. It's not a drug. It's a natural substance. So categorizing something as a drug is a problem in and of itself. Again, branding's boxes. Now, with this, all of this said that I'm not saying go out there and everybody smoke weed. That's not what I'm saying at all, because not everybody's prepared for it. Not everybody can handle it. Not everybody can prevent yourself from making it a crutch, just like anything else, or making it an excuse. But there are multitudes of health properties to it. So that's another story that we can go into it in more depth. But here's the whole thing. Mankind says it's the most dangerous drug in the world. Classifies it as level 1. It is dangerous. It's dangerous to them because it enlightens people, which is why they needed to get control of it, meaning they would control the distribution of it, and that they could classify who used it as less than and put them in prison. So, but at the same time, they say that the drugs that they make from Pfizer is good, yet it causes suicidal thoughts, homicidal thoughts, creates beasts out of men for the dumbest of things. Like I've said, there's a drug that, takes the yellow off of your toenails, makes your toenails not yellow anymore. And that drug's fine print will tell you that you might have homicidal or suicidal thoughts on it, and some people have even died. But yet your toenails aren't yellow. Marijuana has a receptor. THC, there is a receptor in your brain that only accepts THC. It's designed to accept the substance that is in marijuana. You think it's there for no reason? It's there so you can be enlightened. So that would be the author of the Matrix allowing there to be a door or a gate that would allow you to free yourself. That's one part. The other thing is, for people that consume a lot of it, you find that once their THC levels are up, they no longer get high. It's the same way that if you removed vitamin C from your diet entirely, you would develop something called scurvy. And then once you have scurvy, if I gave you 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, you'd be high like you did 20 hits of acid. That wouldn't always be the case once your vitamin C levels in your body have been elevated and that you became accustomed to where you're supposed to be. So, long answer to your question, but that's part of it. Let me see. Jason says MK Ultra victims are not allowed to do cannabis. You can do any other drug. Not sure where you see that from, but psilocybin. Question about psilocybin. Mushrooms. Very much the same thing. Look, even psychologists today are showing that psilocybin, that mushrooms, when properly utilized, is a solution to all of your other habits. Alcoholics are basically cured of their alcoholism by using psilocybin as a journey to find the reason why you drink. So you go into something like psilocybin with a guide, somebody that's going to be there, that's going to be sober with you, and that has mapped out with you questions and answers, questions that you want answers to about your life, and knows enough about you within that to guide you through. Also has set up potentially music or anything that will allow you to be comfortable and relaxed within that state. So there are a lot of good things that can come from that. The bread of life was mushroom when Jesus turned water into wine, used magic mushrooms. The crazy part is I wouldn't doubt that for 1 second. All of the Jewish high priests all wore hats in the shape of a mushroom for that reason. Yes, Catherine N says alcohol is called spirits for good reason. No question about it. There is very little. All you have to know is that there isn't anything really good that comes of getting drunk. Usually it's bad. It brings out the worst. You know, I said to my then wife, I said one time when I was actually treating myself with cannabis oils for a sickness that I had, and this was many, many years ago, and I stopped drinking. And I said to her, I said, you know, it's amazing. Alcohol makes me see things in you and hate you for things that are not true about you. But the THC makes me see things that are true about you that I didn't know and makes me love you more. So it's quite crazy that when I was in prison, I remember them talking about that they really didn't have too much. I mean, they still, you know, wrapped people up for charges for marijuana, but if at all costs, no alcohol. They would rather people have marijuana in prison because all they want to do is love on each other and sit in the bunk and read. But alcohol, people are killing each other on. So it's bad stuff. Maggie says, how do I pray and how do I refer to the Father? Well, how I refer to the Father is how he asks me to refer to him, which is how I refer to him as you, which is Father. He's my Father. Let's see. Questions are going pretty fast here. 350 of you are here, it looks like. Not bad. Anybody see the video last night with Rex Bear? If you haven't seen it on Leak Project, I was with Rex last night on Leak Project. Title contains ant people. You can find that probably fairly easy. Rex and I are going to do more shows. I'm probably going to have Rex on. We've spoken about it via email on Friday. He'll come on my channel on Friday. And Rex is a really nice guy, and we're going to talk about probably a lot of things. The good part with Rex is that he's very well versed in lots of areas. We can have a discussion about the Anunnaki. We can have a discussion about the Sefer Siraf or the Enuma Elish or celestial bodies or any conspiracy in politics, and he pretty well understands that. I don't think that he is linked up the scriptures too much with those things, which I think he finds very enlightening. Hello from Liverpool, UK. Good to see you, Liverpool, UK. We've got a lot of people in all over the world. I've just to help you understand how widespread this has become is that we've got people in Malaysia, we've got people in Puerto Rico, Australia. I've got 3 people, believe it or not, that somehow through the filtering systems are from China, and they're deep in the very oppressed places within China. They talk to me about quite a few things. Good to see you, Maverick. Vader Sean, good to see you. Germany. So we have Germany, all over Europe, all over the United States. The United States is obviously the most predominant of the people within the information that I have in the back office of YouTube. But I actually get a more accurate reflection of where people come from via email. Let's see. Try to get from east to west. Joan M. Trying to find the question here I was looking for. So, and I'm going to bring Maverick, Relentless Maverick. When I get back, Maverick and I are going to get together. I'm going to have him on the show, and we've got some things I want to talk with him. Some things that, you know, we have conversations on the phone, and we go into great details about stuff and can give, you know, Maverick has a unique look at things that I truly appreciate. Acton, California. I used to own a place in Acton. The Acton has the Vasquez rocks right there, right? Something very special about those rocks. Canada. So I grew up in central British Columbia, Canada, a little town called 100 Mile House, if anybody's ever heard of that. And I spent a lot of time running a lodge up in a place called Clean, which is north, almost into Bella Coola area, quite a bit in the bush. And spent a bunch of time. I went up into the northern parts of British Columbia, into the Yukon, and into different places in Alaska as well. So I've been all over the very remote parts of the forest. There are some very special places within that territory there. I absolutely love northern British Columbia in that area. So I wanted to let everybody know once again that starting probably Sunday, I will be off for probably 4 to 5 days. I won't be available unless something is brought to me. Shalenko Lodge. Of course, it's my mama saying that. I won't be available, but unless something comes up that I have to absolutely bring to you, Father brings it to me, I'm going to bring it to you. So I don't dictate. I'm going to try to take the time because you're getting the last of the videos from the trailer. I'm sorry to say that the cave is going, because I'm going to be, obviously Malia is moving here, and this is not a big enough place for Malia as well. It's quite small in here. It's perfectly comfortable for me. But she's going to be coming here. Yes. So Malia will be here. So we are going to be renting a place temporarily until we find a place in the state, and that location that we find and stay at, those will be secret locations. So we won't be disclosing it, but I will be, when I do come back after Sunday, I will be coming to you from a different location. So I think that it'll be probably a much prettier background. And I wanted to say that some of the people, and I cannot express the gratitude and the thankfulness that I have for people that have supported everything behind the scenes. Like I've said, I don't ask anybody for anything. I just allow the Father to move through people. And if they see fit, and the Father tells them that I need something, I don't ask for it. It just happens to come. And I have to tell you that I am more than overwhelmed with some people that have come through, and without any intention of wanting anything for themselves. And my heartfelt thank you goes to them for listening to the Father and for those things, because it's truly remarkable to me how the Father works and how he takes care of it, and how this is being planned to be built and established is all his. I don't have, ordinarily in my life, I would have put together business plans and had every detail. I'm truly letting the Father dictate how things go. So, it's remarkable. I just wanted to thank you all very much. And my mama plays a role in that, because she's the one that handles that, because she is the only person that I know that isn't impacted by anything. She wouldn't look at money or anything as anything for herself. She's as humble and as beautiful as they come. There's no one that I've ever known in my life outside of the Father that has a spirit such as hers. So my mama is everything. And she's probably watching this. I used to bug my mom when I was a kid. I said my mom could, she could cry watching the Flintstones. Just that's how sensitive of a heart. She would find a message in something Fred would say to Wilma, and she'd cry. Or Bewitched, I think one time she was watching. She's a heart, man. She's everything. So I tell you right now, just by me saying this, she's behind the chat here. My mom's at home crying. Guaranteed. That's just who she is. Yes, I'm crying. See, I told you. I know my mama. So, yes, Mama B, everybody calls her Mama B. and she's special. Anybody needs prayer or uplifting, I'll tell you right now that woman right there has more love to give than any person I've ever known. So I would always tell people, that in prison, she'd write letters to anybody that I said, hey mom, they could use some encouragement, and she'd 5, 6 page, 7 page, 10 page letters to inmates all over the place, and inmates getting mail from somebody else's mom that they've never met, particularly when their own families don't send them mail. That's not an uncommon scenario, but they would just be overwhelmed. There'd be guys sitting in their bunks bawling their eyes out because my mom took the time to write them these incredibly heartfelt letters that encourage them. And they still, to this day, they call her, and there's this one gentleman that when I met him, he was as hard as they come. And now he is soft and loving, and he's taking college classes in prison and doing really well and staying out of trouble and everything. So you do have an impact on people behind that wall. You don't have to meet them. So I'm going to cut this short today. As I said, I've got lots of stuff to do. I have 2 loads of black laundry to do. And I'm not kidding. It's funny. Somebody was helping me do my laundry, and they said, "You really do only wear black." I mean, this is the only gray shirt. I've got one other gray shirt, but everything else is black. Even my underwear are black. So it's funny. When I go to do my laundry, it's baskets of black. So but just beautiful. Thanks, everybody. Thanking my mama. I appreciate that. So before your laundry, check your last vid, Hope ENG. Okay, I'll do that. So doing my laundry and unpacking and helping Malia with some of the things that she needs to contend with back in Florida. And I haven't seen her here. If she's here or she's listening, I love you. And again, do not forget that as of Sunday, I'm going to try to come to you a few more times before then. But I'm going to be taking that time. Malia and I need to get some things arranged, but more importantly, we need to convene. We've got a lot of stuff to discuss, and we just need to be together and bond. We've been away from each other for quite some time, and we have work to do. She's very much a part of what is taking place. So we have work to do, and we both need to get up to speed in the purpose of us being together. So I appreciate everyone. The show last night, there are going to be new people coming to this channel, if they're not already some here that have come from the Leak Project. Welcome them. Show them exactly what this group is all about. Demonstrate to them the things that we talk about here all the time. Love your neighbor as yourself. Do not ever forget that. It is critical. They are truly your brothers and sisters. No matter how evil they might seem at first, no matter how many attacks they might give, but you can demonstrate to them the love of the Father, and they'll see it in your actions. They'll see it in your words. Accept them. Do not judge them. They're new to this. So I wanted to just tell you all and remind you today that I love you a lot. And I'm encouraged by everybody's growth so deeply, I can't even begin to explain how encouraging it is. If it wasn't for you here in this chat room and the growth that I've seen and that in the emails, you set a new balance to the disgusting things that I also see in emails. If it wasn't for your encouragements and your statements of growth and your testimonies that I see, it would be very difficult to think that there was any hope. And so you encourage me and you continue to give me hope. And I appreciate all of you for that. And I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Okay. And stay in the Father. I'll see you soon.